All right. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, my dear M5 students. So welcome back to our mathematics online learning. Okay, I'm teacher Prezi, and today we'll be having our unit test. Okay, unit test. But don't worry, our unit test is all about, of course, our previous lesson about functional relationship. Okay. Yes, we'll be having unit test today. Are you ready for the unit test? But don't worry, before I give you the unit test, we'll be having first, of course, our review. So we'll be doing review through playing Kahoot. You know Kahoot, right? We'll be playing Kahoot later. And then after that, I'll be giving you your unit test. Okay, so welcome. Welcome everyone to our mathematics class, online learning. All right. So, our motto, COVID cannot stop us from learning our math. Yes, of course. So, let's have fun learning. Okay. Last meeting, we discussed about a functional relationship, specifically we use exponential function, right? And we didn't finish the exercise or the example, the last example last time, because we ran out of time. And so today we will use our example, our unfinished example, to review. Okay? So we have here recalling the steps. Okay, so we will recall the steps first. So what was our first step? You need to graph, right? You need to plot the points on your data. So whatever the points on your data, you need to put it on graph. You need to graph it. Why do we need to graph? Because we need to find out whether our data is linear or non-linear, right? Because if we don't know whether our data is linear or non-linear, then we don't know what to use. Okay? So if our graph is linear, of course, we have only one linear function. We have y is equal to mx plus b. And then if it is nonlinear, there are two types of nonlinear. We have it's either a parabolic function or exponential function. Okay. So after graphing the points, remember that if you graph the points, it will not be a perfect line, or it will not be a perfect parabola or an exponential, because it's going to be a scatter diagram. So you need to find the line of best fit. Okay, you need to find. So the first step is you're going to graph. And then step number 2, okay, third. Step number 2, we're going to identify the normal equation. Remember that if you have a linear function, you'll be having two normal equations. Why? Because linear function has two constants, right? The number of constants will tell us the number of normal equations. Okay, so if it's linear, there are two normal equations. But if it is parabola, you need three normal equations, because parabola has three constants. Remember that parabola is related with our quadratic function. And so you need to find the values of A, B, and C. Okay? If it is exponential function, then again, there are two constants. So you need also two normal equations. All right. The third step is you're going to make a table. So out of your normal equations, you're going to make the table, because the table will help us to identify the normal equation in our data, right? Make the table. And then the fourth one, we're going to identify the normal equation from the data. You know the difference between the first and the fourth, right? The first one, it is the normal equation from the general equation. If it is linear, then that is y is equal to mx plus b. If it is parabola, then that is ax squared. Y is equal to x squared plus bx plus c, right? Same is true with our exponential. So, but in number 4, you're going to identify the normal equations from the data. So you're going to use now the table to make these normal equations in number 4. Okay? And then the fifth one is we're going to solve, of course, the constant. Why we need to solve the constant? Because we need to make our functional relationship, right? So we need to find the constant. In finding the constant, if there are three constants, so we'll be having three equations. So you can use your what? You can use the concept of system of equation. So for system of equation, of course, you have your elimination method, you have your substitution method. You can also use Kramer's rule, your matrix, right? Okay, so that would be on step number 5. And then the next one, of course, is we're going to identify the functional relationship using the constant, the value of our constant that we got from our table. Okay, all right. And then the last one, after getting our functional relationship, we can now predict values of x and y in our data using the functional relationship that we derive from our data, of course. Okay. So again, the first thing that you're going to do is to graph. Second, you're going to identify the normal equations and then make a table. And then the fourth one, identify the normal equation from the data. And then you need to solve the constant, that's step number 5. And then identify the functional relationship. This is very, very important, of course. This is actually what is our goal, right? Our goal is to find what is the functional relationship of our data. Okay? We call it functional relationship because what? It's not a perfect. Now, if it is a linear function, it's not a perfect linear function, of course. That's why we need a functional relationship of the data. And then the last one is you're going to predict values of x or y by using our functional relationship. Okay? These are the steps, don't forget. All right, so last time we discussed about this one, and we already know that this is exponential function because this is from our previous lesson since we didn't finish it last time. So let's continue. Okay, so we have here our data. If we're going to graph this, we will be having an exponential function. So we have here already our 3 normal equations, right? Remember again how to make the first normal equation. The first normal equation, we're going to what? We're going to insert summation. Yes, summation with the one with the variable, of course. So we have here variable y, so we put summation. This one, we don't have variable, it's only logarithm of a. We use this general equation here, right? So since we don't have variable here, we cannot put summation. But instead, we're going to use n. Of course, we know what is n, right? N is the number of ordered pairs in our data. Okay, and then on the last term, we have x, a variable of x. So we can insert our summation there. So it will become logarithm of b times summation of x. This is our first normal equation. And then the second normal equation, how are we going to identify the second normal equation? All we need to do is to insert x, right? Because x is our independent variable. So go on and insert x there. We'll be having summation of x times the logarithm of y. In this case, we will replace n with summation of x. Yes. And also this one, we have to insert x. So from x, it became x squared. We discussed this last meeting. So this is just a review. That's why I'm doing it a little bit fast. Okay, after identifying the normal equation, then we need our table. Yes, we need to make our table. So in order for you to make the table, you need to what? How do we know what we're going to put in the table on the heading of our table? You need to base it on our normal equation. Yes, of course. We need the column of x, we need the column of y, and then we need a column of logarithm of y because we have here summation of logarithm of y. Yes, so you have to put it here. Also, we need the column of x times the logarithm of y because we have here the summation of x times the logarithm of y. Okay, so we're just recalling, guys. Okay, are you with me? Alright? And then we have also the column of x squared. Why? Because we have here summation of x squared. So the columns in your table will depend on the given in your normal equation. The normal equation will lead you on how are you going to make your table. Okay? Alright, after that, of course, last time, we put the values of x there. That is -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And then the values of y, we have the 1, 2, 4, 6, and 16. Okay? And then the logarithm of y, you need to use your calculator in this case, right? So logarithm of 1. Okay? We answered this last time already, so let's just go on. Logarithm of 1 is 0. Logarithm of 2 is 0.3010. So we took 4 decimal places. Okay? So we get 4 decimal places because it starts with 0. So we need to write in 4 decimal places. 0.3010. Logarithm of 4. We already finished that last time. Okay, logarithm of 6. Okay, so all you need to do is to pick your calculator, press the logarithm in your calculator, and then, okay, take this. All right, so all we need to do is to what? Press the logarithm in our calculator and put 16, press. So we'll be having logarithm of 16 is 1.2040. So I'm speaking a little bit fast, because this is our review, right? We're done already in this lesson, last meeting. Yes, so we're just calling. Okay, and then the column of x times the logarithm of y is, of course, all we do is to multiply the column of x times the column of logarithm of y. Okay, right? So all we do is to multiply this column and that column. So we'll be getting. Okay. Yes. So again, we already finished this last meeting. So I'm just trying to review. And then we have here, the last column is x squared. All we need to do is what? Of course, all we need to do is to multiply this column itself. Yes, x squared. So -2 squared, of course, you know already it's +4, and then we have +1, 0. Okay, then we have our table. Okay, this table is the same as last time, so we're just recalling. After having half of your table, next is what? We're going to get the summation. Yes, we're going to get the summation. Okay. All right. Summation of x, we have 0. Summation of, we don't need the summation of y, right? Why we don't need the summation of y? Because we don't have in our normal equation a summation of y. So no need. So we have your summation of the logarithm of y, and then summation of x times the logarithm of y, and of course the last one, summation of x squared. Okay, so again, this is from our previous lesson last time. All right, so far we're already on the table. Yes, so we already have our table here complete. The next is, we're going to what is the next step? Come on, tell me what's the next step. Okay. All right, remember that I'll be giving you points for your participation, right? Participation and attendance. So what would be the next step after completing our table? The next step will be, yes? Okay, anyone who can tell me the next step? After completing the table, you will, yes? Okay. So we're done with the table, right? We already put everything in our table. The summations are very important. because we will use the summation to identify our normal equations. Yes. So what would be our next step? Step number 2 is what? We will, yes, we will identify the normal equation using our table. Yes. Okay, so we'll identify the normal equation using our table. So logarithm of summation of the logarithm of what? 2.8851. Yes. So all we need to do is to put in there 2.8851 equals 5 times the logarithm of A plus the logarithm of B times 0. Why 0? Because summation of x is 0. Okay? So if we have 0 there, then it will be easy for us to solve. Alright, what about the next normal equation? The next normal equation will be 2.8851 equals the logarithm of A times 0 again, because we have their summation of x, right? And then we have plus the logarithm of B times 10. Okay, so here are our two normal equations from our data, from our table, right? Yes? Okay. After finding our two normal equations, what's the next step? The next step is what? Who can tell me the next step after finding our normal equation? Hello? Are you with me? Are you still there? Okay, let's see if you know the next step. After finding the two normal equations, next step is we will find the, yes, we will find the constant. Yes, very good. So we will find the constant. So what are our constants here? We need to find what would be A and what would be. Remember that we have only here two constants, right? We have A and B. So all we need to do is solve for the constant. Correct. All we need to do is to solve for the constant. Yes. So solve for A. How can we solve for A? We need to use our first normal equation here, right? So you can see here that logarithm of B times 0 will turn to 0 because that is the power of 0, right? If any number that you will multiply to 0 will turn to 0. So will be having only 2.8851 is equal to 5 times the logarithm of A. So all we need to do is to divide, yes? We did this last time already. Yeah? So logarithm, what would be our A? Our A is logarithm of A equals 0.5770. How did we get this? All we need to do is to divide 2.8851 by 5. Yes. And then we will get there 0.5770. Now, how can we get 3.78? How did we get 3.78? Yeah? Any idea? How did we arrive with 3.78? Of course, all you need to do is to use your, of course, calculator, right? So this is anti-logarithm. This one is logarithm of A. If you want to remove the logarithm, you have to use anti-logarithm, right? And you can use that in your, of course, in your calculator, you have the button. Okay, 10 raised to x in some calculator. Other calculators, we have x raised to 10. So if you press this button, these are for anti-log, anti-logarithm. If you want to remove the logarithm, then push this one. Put some calculator, you can use 0.5770 and then press this button. Or other calculators, you press this button first and then put on this number. Then you will get A. Okay? Alright. Okay, so we found out that A is equal to 3.78. Yes. Okay, I will let you participate later with our food. So what about our B? The same procedure, right? For B, we have to use our second normal equation here. Okay? So if you can see here, logarithm of A times 0, logarithm of A times 0, so it will turn to 0 again, this term. So we'll be having only logarithm of B times 10 equals 2.8851. All we need to do is what? Divide this by 10, of course, right? And we will arrive with logarithm of B equals 0.28851. And again, press your anti-logarithm in your calculator and you will get 1.94. Okay, if you have your calculators with you, grab your paper and pen and also your calculator and try to press it yourself so we can see if you're really getting it correctly. Okay. Yes. All right. So we already find the value of A and B. So all we need to do is what? We can now identify our functional relationship. Yes. We can identify our functional relationship. So using our, you can have a choice here. You can make your functional relationship as exponential form, or in logarithmic form. Okay, so if we're going to write it as a logarithmic form, we'll be getting the logarithm of y is equal to 0.5770. This is the value of our what? Of A, of course, plus 0.2855. X, so let's put X there because we have here X times log B, right? Okay, what about if we're going to write it as y is equal to AB raised to X? So we can also write it as y is equal to AB exponent X. Now, A times B raised to X. So there are two ways you can use this one. Okay, so it's either this one, it's exponential form, or logarithmic form, this one. Okay, so since we already identify our functional relationship, next is what? Of course, we can already predict the values. We can already predict values of y. If x is 5, okay, so I put it here. If x is 5, what would be y? So I remember I gave this as a homework last time, right? So get your homework. Did you try to answer it at home? So last time we stopped until here. That's why I discussed it fast, the first one, because we already finished this part last time, right? So last time we stopped until here, and I told you to do this as your homework, right? Or anybody who has an answer now. What is the value of y when x is equal to 5? What is the value of y when x is equal to -7? And what is the value of x when y is equal to 9? Okay, show me your homework. Who did his or her homework? Let me see. Yeah, I remember last time we stopped here and I told you that this will serve as your homework. Okay, so I can see here morning. Okay, 5/1 number 33. Y equals 112.1561. What is your x? X is 5 or x is -7? Morning. Yes? Please indicate also because we have here 3 questions, right? We have 3 questions. So if you write your answer, you have to write if x is 5, then y is what? Number y, okay. Right. Who did his or her homework? Yeah, I gave you homework last time. Get your homework, type in your answers. I know So I will know if you really answered your homework or not. Okay. If x is 5, alright, so you're on this one. Okay. If x is 5, y is 112 point. Okay, you can round your answer. 16, that's correct. Let's see. What about the rest? Only Monet did her homework. What about the rest? Show me your homework now. I gave you this as a homework last minute. Yeah? Okay. Alright. Remember, participation and attendance. You'll get points. Okay. Through your participation and attendance. We have another one here. This time, if x is -7, yes, you get 0.038. Alright. Okay. What about the rest? You didn't do your homework. Okay. So since we don't have much time, yeah, I gave you as a homework last time, this one. Right? You stop until here last time. Because we ran out of time. Okay? Alright, so let's reveal the answer now. If x is equal to 5, then y is 105. Get it correctly? Oh, okay, so 105. All you need to do is what? Is to put, if you want to use this one, all you need to do is to replace x here, right? With 5. Multiply this with 5 and then add 0.577. And you will get already the answer, yes. Okay. You can also use this, right? All you need to do is to put the x there, which is 5. Then you can compute for the y, for the value of y. Yes. Mu. Okay. Yeah. What about if x is -7? So all you have to do is to replace this with -7, the exponent there. Yes. Because x is -7. Then solve for y. So we have what? 0.037. Correct? If x, okay, that's correct. We can. If your answer is just a matter of a point, if your answer is not the same, just a matter of the decimal point, then it's fine. Okay? Yes. 0.3. Yes, that's correct. Thank you. Can miss that one. Alright. What about now? What about if y is equal to 9? Then what is x? So this question here, the last one, is what? It's the other way around, right? We give the value of y, then we need to find the value of x. So in this case, you put your y here, y is given, and you need to solve for the x. Okay? So you can also use our logarithmic form here. Yeah? So logarithm of 9. You can put logarithm of 9 equals 0.5770 plus, and then all you need to do is transpose this to the other side, yes, and then divide. So what would it be? If y equals 9, okay, I appreciate your participation. Yes, all right, thank you for participating. Morning, and who else? New. I saw new one. Okay, so please, I'm encouraging everyone to participate. Remember that you can get plus points by participating in with your attendance, of course. Okay, so if y equals 9, then x equals 1.3. Yeah, 5.2. You try again. Okay. All right. So we have here already the values of our. We already predicted the values here using our functional relationship. So we have here, the first one is logarithm of y. This one, you can use this as your functional relationship, or, okay, yes, right? So again, step number 1, you have to graph. What's step number 2? We need to what? Find the normal equations. Yes. Step number 3, we need to make a table. And the next, after having your table, need to identify the functional the normal equation using your data, and then solve for the constant, right? Solve for the constant. After finding the constant, you can now make your functional relationship. And after getting your functional relationship, you can now predict values. Yes, solve for the constant. Okay, so this was from our previous lesson. So this is our review. Now we're going to do our unit test. Step to access the unit test. So how are you going to get your unit test? Better listen now. Okay. All right. So what are you going to do? Download or open nearpad.com. Right. So you can open or you can download it in your phone, maybe in your iPad, or you can just open it. This is same as the Kahoot. This is same as playing your Kahoot. Okay. So download or open nearpad.com. Next is join the lesson by using the code provided, and I will provide you codes. All right. So you can join it by just putting the code, and then. Okay, we have here a note. Each class or section has different codes. So you cannot use the code, for example, you are 5/1, you cannot use the code of 5/2. Okay? So you have to stick with your codes. And then next is, okay, so I have your deadline, 29 January 2021. So you can answer it until 29. So it will expire the lesson there, or the unit test that I put there will expire on 29 January. So that's why you have 3 days from today, right? You have 3 days to answer it. Okay. All right. Again, first you have to open or download. If you want to download it, you can also download or open Nearpad. Join the lesson by the code, and then you're at deadline. Okay, so if in case you cannot follow the steps that I put a while ago, so I have here also one by one. So for skills, I put there 4 skills: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So 4 skills, right? So you have to read each item carefully. No need to make your own. No need to make your own account. Just type the code that I'll be giving to you. Okay? Right? Next, Nearpad. Remember Nearpad. Yes, Nearpad. So, for example, this one, if this is the code, just put the code there, and then join. Type the code to access the unit test, and then press join course, right? Okay. So please be guided accordingly. Now, how are you going to type your name? You don't need to type your name actually. I only need your what? I only need your class number, of course, and your room number and your class number. Okay. So no need to type your name because it will use a lot of space. So only your room number and class number. Example, and here an example, right? 5/1-24. For example, you are number 24 in 5/1. Okay? And then join. Now press join lesson. Right? I know you can do that. It looks like playing Kahoot. So this one for listening test. For listening test, all you need to do is what? Press the play button. You can see a play button here. All you need to do is to press this play button. And then listen, of course. You have to listen carefully. And then just choose. Click your answer from the choices. Okay? Listening test is all about vocabulary. Okay? Alright? This is your listening test. Next, what about reading? Reading test. So again, for reading test, read the questions carefully and choose your answer, of course, from the choices, right? So we have here, this is just an example, nah? Of course, it's not your test. This is from the platoon. Okay. Next is writing test. So for writing test, if you're using your phone or your iPad, you can use your finger to write, nah, for the solution. So I want you to write your neat and of course clear solution. Yeah, you can write on the space provided here for your solution. That is for the writing test. Okay, right. Next, for the speaking test, this is very important. For the speaking test, read the question and record your voice by pressing the record audio. So you can see here, right? You have to press this thing here. Then record your answer. Be sure to speak clearly and loudly. Okay, for the audio to work. If you speak softly or not clear, the audio may not pick up your voice. So that's why you have to what? Be sure to speak clearly and loudly if you do the speaking test. Okay? Yes? No, that's not the code yet. Don't enter the code yet. The code is just an example. Yes? Just me. Don't enter the code yet. I will give you the code. Okay? That's not the correct code. Alright. So this is for the speaking test. These are your codes. These are your codes. Just me. These are your codes. So for 5/1, we have here. Please use the code in your respected class. Okay, don't use the other class code. Don't mix it up. All right. Now, one code can only accumulate 40 students. So, for example, for room 1, I think there's no problem because there are only maybe 38 or 39 students. So, the code can accumulate it all. But for the rest of the section of the classes, of the class section, I should say, it only can accumulate 40 students. So if you cannot use the code, the other codes, for example, 5/3, there are maybe 43. So if your 40 classmates already use this code, you cannot use it anymore. So what we're going to do is use this code. Okay. All right. So these codes are your extra codes. Okay. If you cannot use your code in your section, in your class section, because it's already used, all of it already used. So you can choose from 5A or 5B. So you try 5A. If it is okay, then go on. If not, then you can use 5B. So this is not for EP. Now this is for extra codes. Just in case you cannot use the codes in your respective sections. Okay? Alright? So I put it here. If you cannot access the code in your class section, use the codes from 5A or 5B. So please take a picture of these codes. Alright? Stick to your codes. So these are now your codes. Nearpad. Go to Nearpad and then use these codes to join. Alright? Okay, do you have any problem joining? Yes. Yeah, of course, SR, because you used the code a while ago. That code is already used. You cannot use that code anymore. So these are the new codes, okay? Please use these codes. Are you okay? All right, do you have any question? Do you have any question to access Nearpad? So I put all the questions in the Nearpad. You have their listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Be sure to answer all of the questions there, okay? That would be your unit test. Do you have any problem entering the Nearpad? Okay, remember your speaking test, you need to what? You need to make it clearly and loudly. Okay? Okay, I prepared actually Kahoot as your review, but I think our time is no longer enough. So you can access the Kahoot. Nah. You can go to Kahoot.it, create Kahoot.it, then you can play. I put there, okay, are you done copying the codes? Yes? Do you have any question? No? So you can play yourself the Kahoot that I prepared, nah? Because we don't have time anymore to play here since we, yeah, all right, let's see. Okay, so you can see this one, right? You can play it yourself. So functional relationship, I prepared 10 questions for you here. We're supposed to use this for your review today, but since you don't have much time to play here, so just play it yourself. You can go to Kahoot, create Kahoot.it and play. Okay, I will share it to you. All right, this one. So make it public. Right, visible to everyone, so you can access for your review, so that you have an overview or you have an idea of the questions that I put in your unit test, because the questions that I put in your unit test is similar to the questions that I put in this Kahoot. Okay, right. So did you get the codes? Can you access Nearpad? Remember, you have to open Nearpad for your unit test, okay? So remember that you have only 3 days to answer it. The deadline is on the 29th. I set the deadline in the Nearpad. So after 29th, you cannot access it anymore. So you need to answer the questions there before or on or before 29th January. Okay? All right? Okay. Right? Okay, so please take note of these codes. Do you have any problem signing in or getting the codes? Again, if you cannot use your codes in your classes, you can use 5A and 5B codes. Okay, these are the extra codes because one code can only accumulate 40 students. All right? Okay, so if you don't have question, do you have any question? If you don't have any question, then so that's all for today. Thank you for your participation. I'm going to recheck your answers later and of course your attendance. Okay. Thank you everyone for participating. Keep safe everyone. Goodbye. See you next time. No chance.